the theme of today's session is maintaining, managing and maximising your customer relationships by thinking in 3D. And what we're going to look at is customers, what are we up against in these sort of quite interesting times, and highlight how what we see we call 3D businesses are maintaining, managing and maximising their relationships by being dramatically and demonstrably different. And hopefully identify how you can actually make this stuff work for you. And I'm always very conscious when I start these things off, people asking the question, who the hell is Andy Hanselman? And I like to get the bad news out of the way straight away. I'm a management consultant. Normally before I tell them that, I make sure the doors are being locked and the windows are blocked down. Obviously, we can't do that today, but I help businesses, their leaders, their people, get better at what they do, what I call thinking in 3D, which is all about being dramatically and demonstrably different. I'm actually based over in Sheffield. I've been doing this for about 25 plus years now. It was our birthday last Friday for 25 years in business. I grew a business, sold it to the management team and started again. And I've been doing this now for nearly 30 years in various guises. I speak at conference and events with some quite large organisations and then work with a lot of growing businesses. And I've put these names up here for no other reason to say, I'm no specialist in one particular sector. I'm here to, I'm a generalist. So hopefully the ideas I'm going to share with you are things that maybe can make work for you in your business. I help businesses do it through speaking, training, consulting, doing away days, and now in these dramatically demonstrably different times, doing it online as well, or trying to and learning how to do that. Written a book all about it, available at all good bookshops and some bad ones too. And for those that are interested, I've created a very simple little web page on my website called andyhanselman.com/businessculturehull. If you go on that, and we'll send you the link later, and there's a password, you can get all the slides and a few toolkits. The slides aren't up there yet, and maybe we can put some resources up there of things that you need. Any questions, please feel free to fling them at me, and please feel free to link in with me. Some of you already know, which is great to see. This thing about being dramatically and demonstrably different, I think particularly at the moment, we are in a dramatically and demonstrably different world. For example, and some of you might be familiar with this at the moment, but can you imagine a situation in the future where when we're going into stores, we'll be able to talk to people, we won't be able to interact with people? And I don't know if anybody's seen this, but Amazon Go, set up in Seattle, are piloting these, where basically you walk in with your phone and you just get the goods you want, you get your crisps, you get your sandwich, you get your drink, you put it in your bag and you walk out again. Now, my father-in-law, Bill, who's 83 from Barney, says they've been doing that in Rotherham for years. He can't quite see what the big deal is about that. But this is the way things may be moving. And what we're going to talk about before we get going, and I would like this time, if you could, this is the only time I'm going to do this, is just to get you put in the chat, what are some of the challenges you're up against when it comes to your customers in these interesting times? So just for a minute, I'd love you just to put in the chat any particular challenges and issues that you're up against when it comes to customers. I'm interested in some of the things that you're seeing happening in your businesses at the moment. So please just let us know what you think, and then I'll just sort of see whether I've got this right in terms of what we're going to talk about. So anybody would just like to share with us in the chat room any particular challenges, issues that you're up against when it comes to customers, and we can see. So the unknown of when customers will open, interesting, yeah, there's a lot of uncertainty in that. Not having any physical contact with them, I can see that. And I think that's the big one, non-essential spend is way down. We've seen that, Ash, we'll talk about that in a second. Uncontactable, where are they? People are busy, but they don't actually reply, interesting. Surveying clients, there's risks for doing that. So there is lots of uncertainty, and that really is something that I think most of us are seeing in the world that we're in. And unfortunately, that means that there's lots of uncertainty and maybe not quite sure what are the things we're going to be doing. Some of the challenges that we've seen when we start looking at this stuff, when we start looking at what customers are up against, this is stop moving, but I'll try this in a second. They've actually told us that there is a number of challenges that we're seeing. First of all, for lots of people, there aren't any. 78% of UK businesses have seen a drop in demand for their products and services. For example, travel has actually seen an 85% decline in inquiries year on year. There was a thing in the Times just the other day, car sales are down by 97% at 1946 levels. But it's interesting, when there are customers, lots of them aren't spending, and somebody mentioned it, non-essential spending is down. Lots and lots of businesses are struggling because people aren't spending the money that we've actually got. I'm not sure anybody's seen this, we see this quite a lot. Competitors, what I call desperate discounting, offering ridiculous prices on things, which a lot of us just can't come up and compete against. And the uncertainty of it all is very, very interesting. Somebody mentioned that. In the Sun today, happy Monday. It's all going to be all right on Monday, apparently. And then I also read a report from the Office of Budget Responsibility that actually GDP could be down second quarter, worse in over 300 years. So there's lots and lots of uncertainty. I'm actually seeing some clients who are actually saying they've got too many customers, some of the sectors that they're in. I've got quite a few clients in the IT world, the telecoms world. I've got some clients in my manufacturing now doing things for the NHS. So there are opportunities. Again, some research was shown by Network Consumer Trends report showing inquiries up in these sectors: online education, gym, arts and crafts, gaming, computers, beauty. So there are opportunities happening. That doesn't help me if I'm in training. I don't know if anybody saw this, Zoom. They now have 300 million users compared to 10 million in December 2019. Tesco actually reported they're up 30%. People actually going and doing their essential shopping. Evans Cycles actually announced that their sales of inside bikes are 997% up. And I also saw a report, Ann Summers are up 25%. Apparently it was the pasta quite early on when we couldn't get pasta in the supermarkets. That's what people were actually getting, apparently. But the result is that there's lots of uncertainty. And what are businesses doing? Well, certainly some of the things that we're seeing them doing wrong as a start of a 10. There are some that are just doing nothing. They're just there panicking. I'm also seeing some just shouting and shouting and shouting, working on the theory that if they shout loud enough, people will hear them. Again, that doesn't seem to be working. And there are others who are staying quiet. And again, I'd argue that's a wrong thing to do. Or we've seen the pushy ones. And then there's experiences, I'm actually getting more and more people pushing things at me. And what I want to do is say that this isn't the approach. These are the things we're going to share with you, things that I'm seeing businesses do. I mentioned I'd written a book. I've identified 7 characteristics of these 3D businesses. I'm not going to go through them all, but the one I'm going to particularly talk about is characteristic 4, which is forget CRM, think MCR. And this is this whole idea of maximizing customer relationships. We talk about forget CRM. I'm not knocking CRM systems. They can be very powerful, very, very useful. But it's to actually maximize customer relationships. And the definition that we use is proactively developing relationships, give the best to and get the best from the customers that you want. And what we've done, I just sort of translated this model slightly and turned it into something a bit more proactive even for now. I'd argue it's about maintaining, managing and maximizing relationships. And that's the stuff I want to just talk a bit about and look at how we've seen the best businesses doing this. But first of all, I want to take you back to many, many years ago, 1984. My first ever proper job, having failed my levels miserably at school, was to work down Dinnington Pit, colliery just outside Sheffield, and worked down there, left in 83, luckily just before the miners' strike, which was a year of real heartache for lots of my friends and families in the area. In the high street, there were 2 shops that sold and rented, always remember this, video recorders. You paid a monthly amount for your video recorder. There were 2 retailers. One said, look, we know that the money that's out there at the moment is going on the essentials like food and stuff for the kids. We'll suspend all payments and rentals. We'll sort out when this strike's over. The other said, we want your money. And they forced people to spend and pay for their video recorders. The strike finished. Within 6 months, that business had gone. It disappeared. And one of the things I want to try and sort of stress to here that we've got to, if we can, think long term. This isn't about making a quick buck, it's about looking at the long-term relationships. And I've got 6 ideas for you, and they are just that, they're ideas. Your challenge is to work out how to work for you. And I'm going to take you through a very simple process called awareness, assessment, action. Awareness is about painting pictures, telling stories, giving examples. An assessment, please don't worry, no tests or exams. But assessment is you saying, taking a bit of time out and going, how do I measure up against these things? How I'm doing well, I'm not doing so well. And step 3, action, what I'm going to take. And I've got some ideas for you to consider. The challenge is you're going to work out which ones will work best for you. And some of the things I'm going to talk about, you'll say, Andy, this is all just obvious common sense stuff. And it is. But sometimes because we have got our heads down, we're busy, we don't always see things. Some of you might have seen this before, but just watch this, please.
This is an awareness test. How many passes does the team in white make?
Count how many passes the team in white makes. Did you see
The
13?
answer is 13.
But
But did you see the moonwalking bear?
some of you might have seen this before. Just watch this again, please. Here he comes. There he is. And the reason I show this is that sometimes we're so busy doing our stuff, we don't see the obvious stuff. And therefore, when I go through these 6 ideas, I want you to really question and challenge yourself and your business. So idea 1, get in touch with your customers. But it's quite interesting what's happening at the moment. For years, I'm often looking for new clients and new businesses. And I've often had chief executives of really large organizations completely ignore me. But now they seem to be my best mate, sending me wonderful emails, telling me how they actually really care about me as a customer. Or some of them even have the courtesy to call me dear valued customer. And what I'm suggesting here is that the thing I would really encourage you to do is be human. Do you humanize your contact? Make it personal. Key things we're actually seeing 3D businesses doing are making it personal and memorable. So yes, it could be emails, it could be phone calls. Anybody here has seen Vidyard, which is something you can actually get, put it on your browser. It's cheap, it's free if you do the basic one, and you can do intimate, simple videos to your customers and clients, put them in emails, let them know how they're getting on, and ask them how they're getting on. But the key thing for me is making it genuine. And the other thing for me here is in the way that suits them. I've got quite a few clients sending lots and lots of emails out, but some of their, got a law firm, for example, where actually some of their customers want a phone call. They want to hear and speak to somebody. So do it in a way that suits your customers. This was an email we got from a supplier of ours and a client of ours, Hydro Creative here in Sheffield. They're a web development business currently working on our web site. This was quite early on, and a lovely email from Ryan, the MD, just asking how we were doing. And specifically saying this isn't touting for work, so anything we can do, please let us know. I just thought it was a real genuine example of human contact. People want to be treated as people, not numbers. So the first question for you, how human is your customer communication? And some things to consider, little actions to take. Just review it, go through it, all your aspects of communication, and actually just check how human is it and humanize it. Does it get across the personal touch? Involve your people. What I mean by that, if I'm dealing with a particular salesperson, a particular person as a customer, I'd like to hear from them, please, if possible. Obviously, some people might be further, that's difficult. But keep doing it, but don't be pushy. So idea 1 is this whole idea of actually getting in touch with people. Lovely example of Norwich City Football Club. They actually got their footballers, their professional players, to ring up some of their old age pensioners, old age pension fans and season ticket holders to see how they're getting on. It's a lovely example of doing that. I've not had Chris Wilder from Sheffield United ring me up yet, but hopefully there's still time. Idea 2, and this is this whole idea of creating dialogue, not diatribes. It's not about shouting at customers, it's creating conversations. Twitter did a bit of research to find out what customers actually wanted from businesses in this coronavirus in terms of communication. Quite interesting statistics that came out of this. 77% feel more positively about businesses that are actually making an effort to support the communities and the world that we're in. 82% said business should seek to support frontline health staff where possible. 80% should be showing how they're demonstrating their own employees, looking after their own employees. Only 7% said business should use the same tone of voice. They want people to be much more genuine. 70% said that business should boost positivity and share positive stories. People want to be uplifted. People actually want to have a laugh. People actually want to feel good. I can't help feeling convinced that is why Captain Tom has gone down so well. He's actually doing all those sort of things. Although there is a bit of breaking news, I don't know if you've seen this. Not really. But again, it's back to being human. So again, some things you might want to consider. Educate your customers. Let them know what you're doing differently. Particularly help them actually make this stuff work for them. Explain the steps you've taken to help them. Explain the steps you've taken to help your people and your stakeholders. Let them know, educate them about what you're about. Find ways to engage with them. Obviously, we're all using Zoom and Skype and all those sort of things and Teams. There are lots of ways of doing that. We have a network here in Sheffield where we get together once every 2 weeks. It used to be once a month. We do it online. We're getting 30, 40 people every week. Just looking and communicating and engaging with each other. Not trying to sell each other with stuff, just ideas. ACAS, and I've seen quite a few businesses doing this, consider Twitter Q&As. Just use Twitter to actually get engagement with customers if that's where your customers are. Support Dogs, a charity here in Sheffield, traditionally have always been very much face-to-face. They've actually found a dramatically and demonstrably different way of actually engaging with their customers. And they are doing things like virtual dog shows, virtual dog talent shows. They've done all sorts of wonderful stuff to engage their customers. If you're a dog lover, you'll be straight to that because there's lots of lovely puppies doing tricks and doing great stuff. But they found a way of engaging and fundraising with their customers. The Cooper Gallery, a museum in Barnsley, obviously not got any visitors. What they've actually done to engage customers, and particularly younger customers, they've actually created jigsaws out of some of their famous paintings and actually got people to do them. They've created a league table to engage customers in doing that. Also found ways to help and support them. The Harry Potter World people actually came up with an online guide to actually, for kids to actually learn to read and write, and actually using this stuff to give parents resources to help educate and train their kids. FD Centre, they've actually offered people a complimentary video call just to actually take you through the financial issues and challenges you've actually got. They might get customers out of that too. It's a great way of just differentiating themselves. H&M Architects, clients of ours, they've actually started to do digital online seminars and sessions with their customers and clients. And they found them very, very powerful. And again, they've actually started to do some collaborative work with their clients using this stuff. Rejuvenate, another client of ours here in Sheffield, do collagen shots. A lot of their retailers are small businesses struggling. And they've actually created a Facebook page where they're actually linking them all together to share ideas, to share experiences, and actually helping pass on their expertise and knowledge. But if you are going to engage with people, a little model that we use, whether it's in coronavirus time or not, is CNN. Think about the messages you're sending out to your customers. Are they critical? Are they nice to know? Or are they noise? If it's just noise, people will switch off. Work out what CNN means for your different customers. And again, some questions. How well do you create dialogue with your customers? Identify ways to do it. And again, key bit for me, again, is review and redo your communications at the moment. Just, are they personalizing it? Is it using the right channels? Tailor it to your customers. And the key thing for me here is don't be afraid to think differently. Don't do what you've always done. And I think what we're actually seeing here is show some empathy. Demonstrate you understand where they're coming from. And I think the other one for me is try and demonstrate your expertise and help them add value. Don't aggressively sell. But I think, again, the key thing here is about adding value. And certainly, having looked at what's going on in Hull, I think Tony and the team are doing a fantastic job at adding value, engaging with their customers. So I think they're doing a great way of doing that. Obviously, keep building on that. Idea 3 is to give your customers a damn good listening to. And some of the things you might want to consider is actually finding out what your customers think, what they actually want, find out how they're feeling, where their pain is, find out what their challenges and issues are, and maybe what they think about the future. And some of the things we encourage customers to do, because some customers, not all, have got a bit of time now, so maybe they will have the conversations. So let them know. Maybe you could phone them. Maybe you could actually do it, have a virtual coffee. A client of mine did that recently, or do a survey monkey, but actually find out what they think. What could you ask them? Well, here are some questions to consider. I'm not asking you to ask all these questions, but just consider them. Ask them, what are your biggest concerns and issues? What problems is this causing? What would your solution be? They might give you opportunities by asking those questions. How do you think we could help? What do you need from suppliers? What one thing could we do better to help you? And then I got going with some other questions. And again, you can have all these, we'll download the slides with them for you to have a look at them. But what is the one thing we should never stop doing? What else should we be offering? Who could we learn from? When this is all over, what will you want from suppliers like us? How likely are you to continue doing business with us? Why not? I'm not asking you to use all these questions, but create some conversations. Find out where your customers are thinking. And as a minimum, do it with your key customers. Because the challenge here, if possible, is can you actually identify and solve their problems? So again, how well do you actually understand where your customers are coming from now and for the future? So again, consider finding out a bit of time to create some conversations with your customers or some of your key customers. But also get to know them and their needs. Think about your other contacts, people that supply leads and opportunities to you. And if you've got employees, don't forget to ask them how they're doing. They're crucial to this stuff as well. Idea 4, delight your customers. Surprise them with the level of service you provide. And I'm always conscious when I speak at conferences and people hear the word customer delight, think, oh no, he's been to Disneyland for his holidays. I want to stress when we talk about customer delight, this is not have a nice day. This is not the McDonaldization of your business. Not knocking McDonald's. I don't know if you know, at McDonald's head office, if they are still open, apparently the University of Hamburgerology, where they're actually experimenting with this stuff, they're actually using the word missing you already rather than have a nice day. If you don't throw up on your Big Mac, there's a fair chance you'll throw up on that. I'm not here knocking them, very successful business. In fact, many years ago, I was very, very lucky in the, I used to live in San Diego, California, and it's when a little building comes from a mate of mine. And in San Diego, California, at 7 o'clock in the morning, we used to walk to work down Pacific Beach. The sun was always shining. The sky was always blue. There were beautiful white, frothy waves crashing onto the golden sands. They like playing at Cleethorpes. And I used to walk into McDonald's overlooking it to be greeted by the cast from Baywatch. And these stunning Californian blondes going, hello, Andy, how are you today? It was fantastic. I had a great experience. When I go to McDonald's in Worksop, this kid goes, enjoy your meal, pal. You learn very quickly what works in California ain't going to work in Worksop. What works in McDonald's ain't going to work in your business. Your challenge is to work out what does this look like for you and your customers. Surprise them with the level of service you provide and do it in a positive way. And this is a guy called Marty Wilson, who's a speaker in Australia, particularly when the toilet roll crisis was on. He actually personalised some toilet rolls and sent personal notes to some of his customers to say he was thinking of them. Customer delight is little things that make customers go, wow. It's not buy one, get 10 free. It's actually a whole thing around producing a wow reaction. Appearing spontaneous, building it into what you do, being personal. And I could do a whole seminar and session on this, and that's something what I do. But I wanted to share with you some little examples. Start looking at what could you do to apply this to your customers. What will work for one customer won't necessarily work for another. The phone call, how are you doing? That could delight customers. I saw this and thought of you, could be a bit of information, some new legislation, some new ideas. Just send something that actually adds a bit of value to them. Jill, my wife, bought something from some guys called Getting Personal. Some very nice personalised notes when they came from them. Not a big deal, but actually a little thing that makes them show that actually care about her as a customer. Have you actually thanked your customers, the ones that have paid you on time, or the ones that have thanked you, the ones that have paid you? What are you doing just to let them know that you care about them, you think about them? And yes, you could write personalised notes. You could actually just send little emails, little videos. So what I'm saying here is that you can delight your customers digitally, you can delight them personally. It's whatever works for you. And some things just to consider as an action. If you think, well, actually, what could I do to make this work for me, Andy? Well, just spend a bit of time thinking a bit about ways to delight your customers anywhere in the customer journey. And if you want to find a way of doing that, well, maybe get yourself and or your team and just start completing this question, this sentence. If your customers were to complete this sentence, what would they say? Yes, they dealt with professionally. What completely blew me away was. What would that be? That might just help you identify some ways to delight your customers. If anybody has seen me speak before, I often talk about a business called Zappos, an amazing business in the US. They sell trainers and shoes online. They've actually created a customer service for anything line. You can just ring them and ask them anything. And that's what they're doing. It demonstrates their dramatic difference, and apparently it's working. They actually had a doctor rang up for some medical supplies. They found them for him. I'm not saying that's worked for your business, but what could you do to actually delight your customers? Idea 5. We are in this dramatically and demonstrably different world. You might want to just reshape what you offer. And therefore, some ways of looking at this, starting off, is that necessity is the mother of invention. The challenges that we have sometimes encourage us, make us do things dramatically and demonstrably differently. They force us to do things and actually innovate in a slightly different way. And ways of looking at this, look at your processes. What's it like to do business with you? Have you got systems and processes actually irritating or annoying your customers? We talk about businesses making it easy to buy from. I actually see some companies are very, very difficult. I remember many years ago going up to speak at a conference in Bradford at a hotel. I hadn't been to the hotel before. Went on their website. On their website, there was on the maps, it said how to find us. And the Google Maps was Barcelona. I don't know if anybody here has been to Bradford or Barcelona. There are subtle differences. I managed to find my way to the hotel. The guy on the door said, "Having a good trip, sir?" I said, "Yeah, but you need to know on your website, the Google Maps is Barcelona." He goes, "Yeah, there's a few told us that." He or it is what we would call the sales prevention officer. It's the things that irritate or annoy your customers. And I would encourage you to get rid of them. Here's a great example of Blacker Hall Farm, who've actually completely changed their process. Toot and they'll fill your boots. So identify your self-prevention, the things that are blocking your customers doing business with you now, anywhere in the journey. They're the little blocks, the walls that are stopping it happening, and can you eliminate them? Particularly in this new world, make it easy for your customers to do business with you. You might also want to just stand in your own queues. What's it like to be a customer of yours? And I'll actually put on the website a little toolkit you can download to encourage you to work through the process. What's it like to be a customer of you and your business anyway through the journey? But also you might want to consider, if you can, reshaping your products and services. Easy for some than others. Giraffe are a business here in Sheffield that create and produce furniture for disabled kids. And they've actually, in the past, always had their experts go out and do it. Difficult to do that now. So they've actually made it easy for parents to actually measure, look after their kids, and give them the tools and techniques that they can use to actually buy their products and services. PJ Taste and clients around Sheffield, catering business, they're actually now delivering stuff at home. Lots of people are doing that, I recognise that. Time out is now time in. Anybody's seen this? National Theatre, they obviously haven't got visitors coming. They're putting lots of their productions on YouTube and you can watch them live. Creative way of just getting people engaged. Audible, you can now download lots of free books, kids' books, just to access the material that people actually need. City Grab is an innovation here in Sheffield. City Taxis have actually created a low-cost alternative to Just Eat and the delivery companies. And what they're actually doing at weekends is all the money that they raise goes to local charities. PE with Joe completely changed the way he's doing things, doing it online. He inspired us. We've actually got BE with Andy and Jill. We actually do some short business exercises, which again, you can have access to, and we'll see you can make these things work for you and your business if you want to access them. And also, we're changing what we're doing. We're having to go online. But what do you need to do to reshape? Excuse me. Some ideas for you. Stand in your customer's shoes. Identify their problems and pain. Take them away. Find ways to use this to create opportunities, and wherever you can you maximize those opportunities? And the last idea I'd like to think a bit about is to take some time out to reassess your customers. I think now is a great time for reflection. And the research suggests in lots and lots of business, people actually struggle to define their target audience. They struggle to actually know where their best products and services actually come from. Where are your most profitable customers? Anybody here got the odd customer when they ring you up, you go, oh no, but you're still nice to them? Maybe they're the customers we shouldn't be putting our focus on. We should find the ones that we can. And what we actually see 3D businesses do is what we call choose them or lose them. They focus on the customers they want to work with. Very simple example to think about this is, who are your best customers? And best is deliberately putting speech marks there because it means different things to different people. I went with one client where we got all the sales guys together and they said, oh, these are our best customers, Andy. I said, why? Oh, they spend lots with us. The FD said, yeah, but they never bloody pay. So it's got to make commercial sense. So what does best look like for you? Create a bit of time to actually paint a picture of what that looks like. Maybe work out where you should be focusing your efforts with those customers and establish some criteria you can actually use. Very simple example, this is in my old business, training business. It's about 15 years ago now. We've grown our business about 10 people. We've grown in turnover, not profitability. We were getting busier and busier and busier. We spent some time to looking at where we were spending our time and effort. We identified our customers, we tried to segment them and we couldn't find any particular way of doing it. So we came up with this. And this is just for us, not for anybody else, just to give you a show how this works. We looked at our clients in terms of high and low entrepreneurialism. High meant maybe one decision maker. 2 was lots, and in some cases working with local authorities, people that didn't even talk to each other. Sell opportunities, high or low. High was they got people to train and develop, they wanted to spend money on training and development, and they're willing to do it. Low, they hadn't got those things. And we looked at our clients. A, typically were growing businesses. Worked with the MD, he or she loved what we did, said, can we do more of it? And we grow with them and develop with them. B's came to every single free seminar we ever did. They loved what we did, they got no money. C's, large companies, took a lot of time to get into them, but once we did, we got good relationships with them, it worked. D's, we didn't waste our time with. When we actually looked at it, we were spending far too much of our time focusing on B's. They loved what we did, they hadn't got any money. We realised that A's and C's were right for us. That's not right for you, you've got to work out who are your best customers. One way of looking at this is think value for time. Don't just think how much they spend, but how much time resources it take for you to look after those customers. There are some customers who will quite happily pay more money for have great, excellent customer service. Do you know who those customers are? Some want the balance, and there are some just focused on price. Not right or wrong. Your challenge is to work out where do your customers fit in here, work out where you can put your time and effort. Great Escape and clients of ours in Sheffield and Leeds started up their own escape room, focusing specifically on students when they first started. That's where the market was. They started doing more and more corporate stuff. When we took some time out with Hannah, who's the MD there, we looked and analysed it. We actually found that the corporates were more profitable, had more repeat business, and we now have 2 target markets for them. Might seem obvious stuff, but their heads were down so much focusing on students, they were missing a massive opportunity. So how clear are you about which customers you should be focusing on? And some questions for you to finish off with. Identify your best customers and actually work out what that actually means, establish what they want, and then start finding ways you're going to get more of in the future, and consider what you're going to do with your worst customers when it's all over. In fact, I would even suggest you might even want to get rid of them. I'm not saying just get rid of them straight, but could you reduce your reliance on them? Because there are some customers, no matter what you do, you'll never meet or exceed their expectations. These are some feedback from some customers who had actually been on Thomas Cook holidays. Try and delight these customers. The beach was too sandy. No one told us there would be fish in the sea, our children were startled. I think you should be explaining the brochure that the local store does not sell proper biscuits like custard creams or ginger nuts. It's lazy local shopkeepers who close in the afternoon, who have to want to buy things in the afternoon, should be banned. There are some customers you will never, ever, ever delight. Don't try and do it. Here's a guy, a butcher, I think he's actually clearly targeted his customers and mind upsetting some of the ones that don't want to buy from him. And what I'm saying here is choose them or lose them. So the 6 ideas very quickly. Get in touch in a way that works for them. Make it human. Create dialogue and not diatribes with your customers. Give them a damn good listening to. Find out what they think, find out what they want, find out what their concerns and problems are. Find ways to exceed their expectations and delight them. And look at reshaping what you do and how you do it to fit in with them and your customers. And just reassess your customers and look at where you're going to focus your time and effort. And very quickly, idea 7, because it is about exceeding expectations. A bonus idea, take action, do something. You'll see when you go on the website, and I'll put it up there, I've not put it up there yet, but I will. I've put up a toolkit with all the action ideas up there, so you can download this and work through which ones you want to take on board. Work out what you're going to do. Just one thing, that's all I encourage you to do. Challenge it, do it, it will lead to other things. Vision without action is hallucination. And just take that first step. Just talk to some of your customers, that might lead to other things. Stand in your own queues might lead to other things. But do things that are a bit scary. Try things you've never done before, because we are in a world that we've never been in before. Some options very quickly to consider. As I say, I'll put the stuff on the website. If you give me half an hour after this session, I'll put it up there. It's there for you to download. Please sign up to the daily business exercises if you want them. We're not going to bombard you with anything. If you want to get in touch with me in any way, please feel free to do that. I'm not going to flog you anything here. Anything I've raised today that you've got a question on, please do get in touch, and I'll do all I can to try and help. But I would really encourage you, don't just stand there, do something. And this thing about understanding your customers is key. I spoke at a conference up at the University of Newcastle with about 150 young entrepreneurs, all under 21. And I put this slide up and they all looked completely blank. They didn't know who Dick Dastardly or Muttley was. And I told them if any one action they took was to Google Stop the Pigeon and Wacky Races, watch some proper cartoons, then I'd done my job. And I would encourage you to do the same. 64% of customers say that how well a business responds to this crisis will have a huge impact on the likelihood to buy from in the future. So the stuff you're doing now might not create short-term benefits, it might, but it will certainly create long-term benefits. So when we do these things, we often find people can be divided into three groups. There are those who make things happen, there are those that watch things happen, those that ask what happened. What are you going to do to make this stuff work for you? We're going to take some questions now. Hopefully we can look at any issues I've raised. I've gone through it very, very quickly, I recognise that. But if there's any questions, comments, please let me know. And all I say is thanks very much for your time and missing you already. Thank you very much indeed.